Well, here we are. I'm Lee Noble. I'm one of the technical directors for Simiode. I'm here along with Mark Tortolot, who's our other technical director.
Hello.
Our organization director, Brian Winkle, wanted to be here today to speak about this project, which is really his baby, but was called away on some business that couldn't be changed. Brian Winkle spent a great number of years as a professor at the United States Military Academy at West Point, and so became very fluent in the military acronym. So Simiode is actually an acronym, which is why we often capitalize it, which means Systemic Initiative for Modeling Opportunities and Investigations with Differential Equations. Okay, so we began in the spring of 2013. We were funded by Phyllis and Brian Winkle, so it was a family affair. It was basically Brian, myself, and a third technical person who left our team to take a full-time academic position as a math professor. So currently, it's Brian, myself, and Mark. Now we're a 501c3 nonprofit with a 25-member board of contributing advisors. So what are we doing? So we're trying to build a community of faculty and students and any interested business or government contributors to support the teaching and learning of differential equations through modeling first. We like to encourage the incorporation of real-world modeling scenarios to introduce mathematical concepts in the differential equations classroom. So we're trying to help educators better understand how to use these modeling ideas in a teaching situation, and we're also trying to engage some students who might be interacting with the models. So our largest type of resource on our hub are modeling scenarios, which are double-blind, peer-reviewed, teacher and student versions of classroom-ready explorations. So to facilitate this double-blind system, we ended up using a third-party manuscript management system through expressacademic.org. But all of our other resource types you can see listed here. We have sample syllabi for people who are trying to figure out how would they incorporate these things into their classroom, the typical differential equation syllabus. We have kind of a working space called potential scenario ideas where somebody could list or talk about ideas that they had, but maybe they haven't had time to develop. We are also have some technique narratives where we're trying to include enough material that perhaps you might not need your students to purchase overpriced textbook, but instead might be able to use some free online texts. I'll mention that again in a minute. Okay, so why are we using HUBzero? We are using the open source hub, which we installed and configured ourselves, but we are foundation members and have gotten a lot of help from HUBzero, including help upgrading from version 1.3 to 2.0. Brian had heard a lot about HUBzero. It was a smorgasbord of features from a few colleagues who were familiar with NSF project. They kept talking about it, so he kept asking questions about it, and they kept saying, oh, sure, it can do that too. Yeah, it can do that too. So that's why he chose this platform, and I didn't question it. I said, okay, HUBzero. I've never done anything this big before, but I'll give it a shot. And so that's how I got involved in it. It was right at the beginning to install the very first incarnation of it on our server. Not the first incarnation of HUBzero, but our first incarnation, which I think was 1.0 or something. So some big issues for us have been incorporating and configuring the features, keeping up with updates and security, overall site flow and user experience. And we're just two part-time people, Mark Tortolot and myself. We only have about 20 hours total between the two of us each week. So that's quite a challenge. So we have a limited presence on social media, but we do have a good presence at the American Math Society and the Math Association of America. which are two of the major math professional organizations in the United States, and we give workshops there at their big meetings every year. So you see that under some little snapshot here of our latest events. We just gave one in January, and I think we have something else we just did in July, I believe, at the Math Association of America. And we have a blog that's really active. We also make extensive use of the newsletter feature on the Hub. We really hope to start using courses more. And we have a colleague who is hoping to use our site to host a free textbook that he is in the process of writing. And that textbook would also use a modeling first approach to differential equations, where it would incorporate modeling right into the textbook material. We're also hoping to have some more upgraded search capabilities. And we have a big new project we're launching right now called Scudum. We're starting that. We just started registration for it, and the competition starts in October. And this is where I believe Mark will speak more about Scudum.
A lot of what we've been kind of trying to figure out with the Hub is there's so many different ways of doing things that it's hard for us to kind of wrap our head around this as we try to work through it. But a lot of what we want to be able to do is use the Hub as kind of the area for registration, the area for managing students and teachers, delivering the tests and things like that. And one of the things that we ran into is trying to find easy ways for registration. We ended up going with the Google Forms embedded, and we ended up doing registration fees and stuff through PayPal. And even though the Hub has kind of a point system commerce thing, it really isn't for doing money transactions. And so we were able to embed forms, being able to do things like that. A lot of what we're really working with now is how are we going to contain the students and give them things that they need and work with them. So we're trying to think of whether or not we should enroll them all in the course, whether or not we should do it through groups, a combination of all of the above. So that's kind of where we're working with right now. We have this system set up and it's working. But we are still trying to approach this with the idea that this time around is really our first attempt, and we've been getting great success for it. What we're really concerned about is that next year we are going to go from one site to, what was the last count, Lee? I forgot. We're up to what, 50 sites? Probably more than that right now.
Yeah, I think something like 67.
So, yeah, we're up to about 67 sites. So whatever we come up with has to scale up way beyond the point where we're going to be trying to, fix things in the background and enter things by hand and do that sort of thing. So that's kind of our use case. Let me come over to the page. This is actually the page where we're showing all the different places that have signed up for next year, for 2018.
You should point out that each place on this list, we expect to have 12 teams of 3 students each at each place. So that's a large number of people for us to keep track of.
Yeah, well beyond what we can do by hand. So it has to be a system that is easy to manage. And we would love feedback from the community, from you guys. If you know of any previous attempts at doing things like this, we would love to hear.